We are Power 95, where music lives. Ladies' Room comes to you compliments of Renwick and Thompson Limited and Beacon Insurance.
When you get to a certain age, different things drive you. Like the anticipation of a new adventure, the comfort of having friends who become family, or just enjoying that journey to the next destination. At Beacon, we've given our 50-plus drivers more value and greater convenience with hassle-free sign-up, flexible payment plans, and free benefits. Call us at 440-4447 or log on to beacongrenada.com for a quote today. And let us help you keep doing what drives you.
2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6.
Education multiplies their chances and places the world of opportunity in their hands. No matter where they are in the world, make sure they're prepared for their journey back to school with Western Union. School fees, books, room and board, whatever the reason. Knowledge, independence, opportunity. Western Union, moving money for better.
Okay, this one is just a little too quick for me. Let me slow it down a bit and welcome you to and let me welcome everybody back to the room. It is Wednesday, September 6th. I hope everybody's doing well, energized, and ready to take on this day. If you're already on the job, good morning. Come on in, guys, and as soon as you on the live, just hit the share button so we can give other viewers the opportunity to be part of the show. All right. Morning, Debbie. Morning, Jenilyn. Morning, Wendy. Morning, Daniel Dubisette. Somebody tag Shantae really quick because, you know, she's like the ladies' room prefect, right? Making sure everybody's here and tagging everyone. All right. So good morning, Maureen. Good morning to our viewers on YouTube. Morning, Lizzie. Shout out to our friends and followers out in Canada, the US, the United Kingdom, parts of the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, we got people everywhere. So come on in. We're gonna start. We don't have time for the pleasantries this morning because we have a lot to talk about, a lot of ground to cover. So much going on that I want you guys to be aware of. Good morning, Shelly. No, you can view on YouTube as well if you don't have Facebook. It's Power 95 on YouTube, so you can head over there if you want to view live. All right, so I think we're good to go. So come on in, guys. Yeah, I know there's a lag sometimes, so that's why I usually use the first 2 or 3 minutes to get you guys on, because I know sometimes Facebook lags, and when we're almost there, people are just getting the notification. So let me just give you all a minute more to come on in, and then we'll jump right into it. Morning, Esther. Morning, Wendy. Yeah, the heat wave. Canada is experiencing that as well. Yeah, we've got we're under the same advisory here. Good morning, Akeem. Yeah, you must be here, right? So I want to say special morning to all our listeners on 95.1 and 95.3. And also, if you're listening online on our webpage, welcome to the show. And of course, thank you to our friends at Beacon Insurance and Western Union for making today possible. All right. So I think I've given you guys ample time. We're going to jump right into it. And y'all will have to catch up at some point because we don't have all day. And you know, before you know it, 45 minutes is over and done with. Jane in London, welcome. Welcome to all my Londoners. Good to have you. So we have the Minister of Implementation in the building. We've had him before, but never in the capacity as minister. So we're speaking to him from a different angle today. And when I reminded him not to be late this morning, he was like, what? I know you have a lot to do, but I couldn't believe that you forgot where you were going. Good morning, Minister. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm good.
Good.
And how are you this morning?
I am great, not complaining at all. You
No.
know, a lot to be thankful for. So, I mean, as with everything else, I always look at what's happening outside to give me a sense of appreciation for where I'm at. I mean, yes, there are ways where a lot of things we need to improve on, but for the most part, we still have a lot to be thankful for. You know, just looking at stone throw away St. Vincent, you look to Trinidad, you look to other parts of the Caribbean, and when you're hearing of, you know, some of the things that's happening, you're like, yeah, you know, we are still at a place where we can say thank you, you know, and I think sometimes we sort of forget that.
And we take it for granted.
And we take it for granted.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But all you have to do is just use the internet apart from Facebook and, you know, Instagram, and just look at news, read up on news, what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really, really, really is sobering, and it brings you back to reality that, hey, we still have a lot to be thankful for. So we have a lot to talk about this morning. So we're going to get into it. But first, before I do anything else, I want to start off with that, and then we're going to jump into, you know, what you've been up to in your capacity as minister, and what are some of the things we can look forward to. I want to say thank you to you publicly. And this is not something that you asked me to do or wanted me to do for that matter, but I thought it fitting to do it because you did it from a personal capacity, not a government minister, but as Andy Williams. For the past couple of weeks, you know, lots of, you know, single mothers have been reaching out, seeking assistance. And I think that was like the third or the fourth one that we've been, you know, been trying to help. And you reached out and said, you know, you wanted to help. And you didn't want to know the circumstances, the who, where, what, when, why, just what was needed.
Yeah.
And when I gave you the contact for the young lady, she called me back immediately, and she was like, thank you. He called. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, you know, he offered to help, you know, and this is what's going to be happening moving forward.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes I think that our representatives sort of forget what it is they're really there for. And that is, without a shadow of a doubt, the people.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
The populace, you know? And I think for over the years, we've seen that sort of, they're there, but they're not there. And I think we can all agree that you seem to be one of the ministers that's firmly on the ground, that's in touch, you know, and people can find you, can speak to you, and you see results after speaking to you.
Right.
And one of the things that we gathered from the past couple of weeks is that there's a lot of single mothers out there, a lot of people. And when I spoke to you, I was like, listen, I've been doing this for so long, like it's almost every minute of the day I get requests or calls for this.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
Well, first of all, let me just say good morning to all of the listeners. And, you know, but let me just say, you know, that sometimes as a minister, it's easy to get bogged down with the work, especially my ministry. My ministry is MIT, mobilization, implementation, and transformation. And one of the key function of my ministry is to ensure that the implementation rate of projects and programs in government is up. We came into office when we had a rate of approximately 33%. And for the first half of the year, or the implementation rate of government improved to about 87%. So it can easy to get bogged down in, you know, doing ministry work, being on top of ministries, making sure that things are being done. But at the end of the day, the reason why we are in office, right, is because of the people. They were the one who voted us in, not the ministry. So for me, it's important to keep grounded. It's important to really be there for the people. And also, some folks are still caught up in the thing that divide us in the politics of the NMP and the NDC. If anyone knows me, they know that I'm not part of this thing. Anyone comes to me and they want help, I try to do my best to assist. I may not be able to answer at the same time because I may have other things dealing with, but I try to reach out after, right? And I think this is the approach we have to take. The election is over, and we have to come together to build Grenada as a people. And we cannot do it with just one side. We must do it together. And every Thursday, I'm in my office on a Thursdays, and that's when people will come and share their struggles with me. And I try and see how I can ease their burdens and how I can find a solution to their problems.
Mhm.
And it's amazing to see, the stuff that people come to you with. And sometimes, I bleed, right? Just imagine last week a young lady came to me and she had nowhere to live, and a young man gave her a little, rest. But she was not happy because it was about sex,
Mhm.
right? So here is him giving her the rest, but in return,
Comes with conditions.
exactly. And she has 3 children, and she wants to get out of the situation. So
Mhm.
for me, I had to see if I could get the ministry to give her some rent and get some materials to see if we could construct a building for her, so she can be on her own. But this is just one situation, and to me, that's what politics is about. We enter politics not for ourselves, but for the people, to try and see how we can assist as much as possible. So, and what I try to do, I try to action things, not to make it lapse and to hold back,
Mhm. Mhm.
because that's and again, that's the whole the uniqueness of my ministry. We are the ministry to get things done. So if that's our ministry mandate, it should reflect in me as a person also. So it's about reaching out to the people and trying to make a difference in the lives of people. And to me, that's what politics is about. The late Molly Bishop said that a government is supposed to be of the people, for the people, and by
By
the
the
people.
people. Mhm.
Right. So, and if we are taking that mandate, we have to always remember the people, and that's what I go by.
For the past couple of weeks, like I said, having so many women reaching out, and I said to someone last night, sometimes I'm afraid of going into my own messenger, so I have to like give people my number. Like, listen, I try to stay out of my messenger at a certain time because it can be a lot. And one thing that I realize is that there's a lot of people, and most of them didn't just want help. They were looking for jobs, something to do to sustain themselves, because the help is temporary. After we give you some food, when it's finished, what happens? You're going to need more food.
Right.
And we want people to be able to sustain themselves.
Right.
And it also brought sharply into focus that there's a lot of men who are fathering children and not taking their responsibilities seriously.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear to see that these women can't do it alone.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, how can we get the fathers, the young men, etc., to be more involved? What sort of programs can we develop to
Right.
get them to understand that, hey, you are needed? It's not a want, it's a need to have you in your child's life, irrespective of what transpired between you and mother.
Right. Now, but first of all, we have to kind of go back to see where this all came from.
Mhm.
And I mean, but since back in the days of slavery, right? I mean, come up to now, we are not. Our culture was not one to really respect family and to promote family life.
Mhm.
Let's look at the Indians. To the Indians, everything is about family. You see how they are closely together, and how the whole way of life is just different. And to me, it starts with education. It starts with us giving people a chance to get out of the poverty line, and we should not be proud to be saying poor and vulnerable.
And vulnerable. Mhm.
Right? Now, our approach is, how do we take you out of being poor and vulnerable? Not having to give you a handout and you have to be dependent on us all the time. But how do we elevate you? And I think if we try to elevate our young people from an early age, when they grow up, they may more tend to have more reasoning, more understanding, and more compassion.
Mhm.
And that is one way we can try to assist, in helping the matter. Now,
And it's not just other men as well. Women also have to take responsibility. So it's something that we have to focus on across the board.
yes, and but let's kind of, sometimes we may want to condemn some women and men that are in those situations.
Mhm.
But I could tell you, when you're desperate, you will tend to do things. You will tend to act in a way that you would not want to act. And it'd be easy for someone who is not in your position to judge you, right? But sometimes that's what you have to do to make a living, you know. So a woman may have her children, and she may have to do things to make a living. I'm not saying it's right, but what do? You know, and that is, and for us as a government, we are trying our best to, you know, to not just give people a handout, but again to help them to better their lives. That is why on Monday we had a ceremony where for TAMCC students and UDO students, where we took off the tuition fee from the whole fees, right? List of fees, and we had a record-breaking amount of children registering for TAMCC.
As a result of that,
Exactly.
Because what's one of the reasons some don't get to go to college because the parent just can't afford it.
Exactly, and also sometimes you may pass the young age of going to college, but if you are 28, 29, and you apply to college again and they accept you, you will be getting the tuition fee off. And if you want to elevate people from poverty and lift them up from poverty, education is the number one thing to do that, right? So that is why we place such an emphasis on education, but not just the academics, but also the skills. And we can see we did the same thing for neuro, because sometimes we tend to place everything on the chemistry, the biology, and the physics. But what about the skills training? I remember once upon a time a house was building, and the guys who was doing the carpentry and so was telling me, Andy, you think we're making money? Is a guy who's doing the electrical and the plumbing. And sometimes some of us may have an 8 to 4 job looking down on these people, but these are the people that are really clocking in.
I said so a couple I think it was a couple weeks ago. I was like, when somebody was doing some work, and they were talking amongst themselves, and they were, you know, even making reference to the ladies' room and some of the scenarios, and they were like, women only want men that are wearing jacket and tie, and you know, they feel they have money and they buy a little car, but they were breaking it down, and the guy was saying, listen, I never had no formal education. I dropped out of school in Form 3, and then I realized I was very, very good at the mason and doing the tiling, and then I started. My boss said wanted somebody to, you know, do some plumbing, and he decided, let me just try it. And then he said, I realized I'm really good at it.
Right.
So he has a combination of all. He can do everything. And he says, listen, if I were to tell you how much, I was like, okay, well, tell me. And then when he gave a figure, he was like, yeah, look at me dirty, but my bank account is smiling.
That's it.
And I did not get a formal education.
Right.
So we place a lot of emphasis, yes, on, you know, the formal education, getting degrees and what have you. But what about the skill set, the skills training?
Exactly. But that's where the transformation coming in the mind. We have to start transforming the mind, because, you know, we have been programmed to think that this is the way you have to go. And our system is geared at equipping people to just fall in the workforce. But I don't think it is actually geared at creating entrepreneurs, creating businessmen, you know, creating people who can do their own thing, right? And to think outside the box. And this is what we want. And that's part of the transformation process. Now, if we educate you, but not just educate you in the normal things, let me tell you, in the Ministry of Infrastructure right now, we want approximately 20 engineers that we do not have in Grenada, right? 20 engineers. In the agriculture sector, we do not have enough farmers, basically. We have demand. Right now you have the ABC Islands who are coming to Grenada to see if they can get fruits and veg and all these things. And we do not have enough to even supply them, right? I was in Canada last week, and I was trying to see how we can set up the lines between Grenada and Canada, because I'm saying we need to start not just producing for Grenadians, but producing for Grenadians and other people outside of Grenada. We have a heavy diaspora presence in Brooklyn, in London, in Toronto. Sometimes they want stuff from Grenada, and they cannot get it. So we should be trying now to see how we can bridge a gap between the farmers in Grenada and the folks that want the stuff to buy in the diaspora. And that was one of the things that I was trying to address last week in Canada. Also, if you don't mind, I'm on a drive, and I was featured in the Canadian paper last week. But the drive that I'm on is we need to have more factories in Grenada where we add value to our products, not just having the growing the mango and the golden apple and so, but actually having some mango juice by pulping the mangoes too. Sometimes when mangoes is out of season, that's it. But if we pulp it and we freeze it, we can use mango when it's not in season, right? But I would love for us to, as a people, to form cooperatives, and we can do a PPP, a public-private partnership, and where the private sector can work with the government. Let's create factories and let you, the private sector, run the factories because you run it more efficiently, and then we can be producing things and not having to depend on the foreign products all the time. Because every time we import something, we help build someone else's economy. And number two, when the prices of items goes up worldwide, we are importing inflation. But if we are at a stage where we can produce for ourselves, I think this is where we have to be and want to be, so that we can start to export.
And then we can take our people out of poverty, and everybody wouldn't wait for and hand out, but would be able to sustain themselves. More young men and women would be involved in some of the projects that you just mentioned, the factories, all of that. Because speaking to some of them, either some of them dropped out of school pregnant, or they didn't get a chance to go on to college. So, the jobs that are available to them, it's somewhat limited. But things like that, it's hands-on. So you can get more people involved, more young men, more young women, and that way make them responsible for their own lives. And as someone here is saying as well, scientists say that agriculture is still treated as a punishment. People still telling their children go to school, otherwise you have to go and work land.
Right, but let me just start by bigging up India and the government of India, because they pledged $1 million in equipment for us, factory equipment, so we can get any amount of equipment we want, up to 1 million. Fantastic. And we can start looking at doing things like using our coconuts. The Ministry of Agriculture right now, they are importing some coconuts that we want to start growing here. And I think the first import is about 5,000 coconuts. But if we, a simple thing as coconut, we can get coconut milk, we can get coconut oil, we can get even soaps and other things from coconut. And that is just one. I just spoke about pulping the mangoes. In China, there's a great demand for teas. And we can start doing more teas in Grenada and exporting the teas. But so I just want to big up the government of India for that, for really partnering with us to see how we can do that. We have a delegation coming down in Grenada from India on the 26th of September. But this is exactly what we need. These jobs are more hands-on. It's not hard to really do. And by doing it, because we can set up those factories in, let's say, in places like St. Andrews and St. Patrick's, so that we can
move some of the business out of the capital. Everything is, you'll say St. George's.
Exactly. And even we have people coming to squat in and to get rent, and so everything is in St. George's. But what we want to do, or what we can do, is to encourage the urban to rural drift. We find that people will be migrating to the north and the east of the island for opportunities, and not put all the pressure on the south.
And these are things we are going to see. This isn't just, let's talk about it for talking about its sake.
Well, I call 2025 the year of innovation. That's me personally, right? Not just me. And I am bent on ensuring that these things happen. So you'll see me in Canada, you'll see me in India, and I'm on a campaign. And you may think that these things are far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. When I was in Canada, I saw some ladies actually in the Philippines. During COVID, they said they were on lockdown and they had to do something. And they got some slicers and all these sort of things. And they are making their potato chips, their cassava chips, their sweet potato chips, and just banana chips. And they're even making bowls out of leaves. Bowls that you can even drink your soup and so in out of leaves. And it was amazing. And it just shows you that when people get together and use their resources, what can happen. And listen, I've seen them. They make chocolate. I bought some chocolate from them, and I'm saying to myself, but we have all the resources that these people have. So why are we not making use of it? Now, the Minister of Agriculture and we plan to go to St. Vincent because clearly St. Vincent is outdoing Grenada. So we want to see exactly what's happening there. What are they doing? So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but we can adopt some of the things that they are doing. Because I could tell you that every developed country in the world, they depend or they put resources in.
I know of farmers who go to St. Vincent to purchase goods to come back to sell here. My friend Jude, who deals with meat and stuff, would go to St. Vincent to buy cows to come back here. And I'm like, I saw him one time on the airport in Robbie, and I'm like, "What you doing here?" And he says, "I'm just passing through. I'm going to St. Vincent to get some animals."
Right.
I'm like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, we don't have animals here to feed the population.
Yeah.
So we have to go to St. Vincent to purchase from them, and then what you get, is what we got from them." And I'm like, "Wow."
But let me just say that better days are coming, because that's for Grenada, because we have a program that a project that MIT is working with the Ministry of Agriculture on, and that is a food security enhancement project. And that's where the World Bank gave us a grant for $10 million to really pump into agriculture. So soon you'll be seeing a lot of money being pumped. And the same thing you're speaking about, we have plans to really increase the capacity of the livestock in Grenada. And also we want to do some freezers and help the farmers and feeds, and so you'll be seeing us pumping a lot of money into agriculture in the next 9 months. That will really give it a boost, and it's to boost food security. But sometimes we have the money to spend, and what we are seeing is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. So I think a trip to St. Vincent would be nice to see what they are doing, so we can piggyback on it, so that agriculture can really start to boom in Grenada. Because sometimes we speak agriculture. For example, I could tell you when we came into office, the Ministry of Agriculture was about 60% understaffed, right? And the minister and his PS, they had a challenge, because now they entered into a ministry where they have no staff, and they have to try to put things together quickly to make things flow. So sometimes
we totally disrespected agriculture.
Listen, sometimes we speak agriculture, we go on and we talk the nice things, but we don't give it the resources. And this last budget that was passed, that was the most amount of money that was actually allocated to agriculture in years, because we decided, listen, we are going to put our money where our mouth is. And that is why in the couple of months to come, you can see some heavy investments in agriculture.
Someone says St. Vincent once imported from Grenada, but now St. Vincent is leading the way in agricultural production. I saw they had a new type of dasheen that they're exporting to the U.S. market, and we have the good soil here in Grenada.
Yeah.
So what timeline are we looking at to getting some of those things off the ground? Because it's a need, it's not a want. We must eat.
Right.
And we're talking about healthy eating, and so many people coming down with different illnesses and diseases. And of course, unhealthy eating is a direct result of some of those things. So how quickly are we looking to put those things to work?
So basically, what we had to do to get that project started, which is a food security enhancement project, is we just had some, when it comes to the World Bank, you have to do some paperwork and all these things. So these things are being finalized now. And I would say by October, we can see some serious action being taken to improve the agriculture sector in Grenada. And that is where we want to go, because part of our mandate also as a government is to promote health. And our Prime Minister is bent on building a new hospital in the first term. And because we see the difficulty and the hit that the healthcare sector, have taken. and we really want to turn it around. So we just located the land where we want to put that hospital, and it's something that we really we are bent on doing, because we have people in the diaspora who want to come back and live in Grenada, but they will not come back because the healthcare sector, is not the best.
It's one of the deterrents.
Right. So we are saying we will do our best to improve the sector, number one. And Senator Jonathan Lacquette is doing a great job at that. But also we want to promote healthy lifestyle and healthy living, because most of the diseases that you have is caused by our eating habits. And if we can change that, if we can see, and sometimes it's not just about growing the food. Because let me give you a joke, Aruna. When I leave to go sometimes, I will stop. I will buy some bananas, some mangoes, some golden apple and so, and go home with it. But I'll buy 2 or 3 Coke. And that Coke will finish.
Before the fruits.
Not before the fruits. I just touch the fruits and the fruits stay there and spoil, right? So I'm buying it, just because I know it's healthy and it's good.
Healthy.
But I'm not using it. So I'm saying now, we have to also change the mindset of our people, because we tend to live in a society where we are so accustomed to one kind of, the foreign stuff. So it's not just about producing the local stuff, but it's about getting our people to consume them also. That is one of the challenges that we will have. But again, if we really want to challenge health, it's not just about the hospital, but it's about assisting people to change their lifestyle. And that's where, again, education will come in.
And we have to start from the schools.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing obesity in schools, you're seeing high blood pressure, you're seeing diabetes in children in school.
Yeah.
And then you look at what they're eating, what they're coming to school with, and it's sometimes not healthy. So we definitely have to start from the ground up, literally, to get a better understanding as to how important our health is. Somebody is asking, what's the plan for nutmeg after being the second largest producer? What are the plans?
Well, basically, I just had a meeting with the FAO. It's a food agriculture organization. And we spoke about cocoa and nutmeg. Because what happened is that after Ivan, I think we never really got back to the capacity we were before. And we have to make a conscious effort to get back there. So we have a project that we want to work with the FAO on. It's about $3 million US. And if we invest, and it's coming from the Jeff funding, right? That was the same conference I was on last week in Canada. But the idea is to ramp up production of in our spices, like cocoa, nutmeg, and so. We want to get back to the levels, to the pre-Ivan levels, and so we will be putting a project in place to deal with that. And this is where we have to go, because you can run, you can hide, you can do whatever you want to do. Grenada is known as the Isle of Spice, and it will always be known as the Isle of Spice. People know us for our spices, but the next step we have to take away, not just growing the nutmeg and growing the spices, because we also have a spice planting program which we want to implement shortly. That's where we want to plant more spice trees all over Grenada. But it's not just about planting them, but it's about using our raw materials to get to the next stage and add value to it. Because you can export a pound of nutmeg, let's say for $2, but you can export a nutmeg spray for maybe $10, and the size of the spray is much less than the size of a pound of nutmeg. So you can pay less shipping and get more than having to pay more shipping and get less. So this is where we have to go. And someone brought an idea to me. I said to me, Andy, we can probably bring in a company in Grenada to add value to the products. And I'm saying, yes, I agree, but at the same time, I disagree. I would love for our people to be involved in the process. Our people are the one that's supposed to be owning the factories.
The profit stays right here.
Exactly. Because if we have a foreign company come in, we will still be providing the raw materials, and they will be exporting the value added. And that is where the real profit is.
And they take their profit, they take their profits elsewhere.
Yeah.
like you said, I think one of the biggest eye openers for us should have been when um after COVID, and we placed a lot of emphasis on tourism, which is very important. But I think that was one of the harsh realities coming out of COVID. That yes, while we rely on tourism, food was the most important thing at that point in time, because everybody was on this healthy eating train to boost your immune system. You need your fruits, you need your veggies, your coconut water. We spoke a lot about how healthy eating can prevent you getting ill and just all those things, and we realized that regardless of what was going on, we still had to eat. And then you're standing up in long lines, supermarket shelves are empty, and that to me it's like we missed the boat right there. And now it's like we have to start all over where that is concerned. And it's a lot of work, but somebody has to do it, and here you are. So looking ahead, what's next for the ministry, your ministry?
So basically my ministry there, as I said before, the main mandate is to improve implementation. We have a lot of projects, and what was happening before, like for example, we had some World Bank projects. I can tell you, Aruna, that over the last 4 or 5 years, the World Bank has approved for us $100 million US in projects, and up to 2022, our implementation rate was like 4%, right? So it means like about 4 million a year out of the 100 million. So when we came into office, our Prime Minister thought it was necessary to have a Ministry of Implementation so that we can get these things going. One of the projects that we are in charge of as a ministry is an OCS project on Fort George. That project is where we're going to make Fort George a tourism site. And
because I kind of tired of that one monkey up in Granite Town.
And yes, we are going to move over the police headquarters from Fort George, and we are going to make it a tourism attraction site. And works have started already. I mean, one day we could take a nice walk up there. It's lovely. But we are going to have a museum, a library, a courtyard, so many that we can see the whole nice scenery. You can go into the caves. There are caves in there.
There are caves up there.
And you can go and you can see all the Port Louis and everything. It's just lovely and nice. But that project was on the book since August of 2017. And up to 2022, the implementation rate was 0.
Wow.
In August of this year, the implementation rate is approximately 60%. So you can see just in a matter of a year how much that we improved the implementation. So that's just one. One of our government mandate again is to build a new hospital, and we are on that train already. And also we want to do some skill training centers. It shouldn't just be NULO alone, that where you can go to learn a skill, NULO or TAMCC. But those centers should be placed all over the island to make it more accessible for students, because sometimes just a bus alone to get to these places is so much. But if you have it in the back door, then you make it more easier for them, and we can start promoting a country where we have people who are equipped with the adequate skills. Let's look at when you have hotels and so coming into Grenada. We get the lower end jobs. Even in the construction phase, we get the lower end job.
And they bring in all the...
Exactly. We're supposed to be, accessing these jobs as Grenadians. But how can we access them if we are not equipped?
Just like you said, you need 20 engineers for your ministry.
Right. So, but that's one. But let me just say something, because sometimes as we talk about the engineers, people tend to underestimate UE and SGU. Our Prime Minister went to TAMCC, he went to UE. That was it. Right? And if once a Grenadian gets accepted to UE, you get economic cost scholarship of 80%. And I'm seeing people burdening themselves, sending the children to universities in the US and so, which costs so much. And I'm saying that UE is top, and they have the same facilities that they could give you even a better education, and it costs much less. So there's SU that you can get a scholarship. There's also UE that you can get a scholarship, and I want to encourage people to take advantage of those. What again, we spoke about it in the campaign, and we will fulfill it. the Ministry of Social Development, which is um, which is under the Minister, the Honorable Philip Tillisford, is geared at constructing 500 Grenadian style houses before um, our first term. And that is where Grenadians can come and really, get a property and a house that fits our style. So we are committed to do that, and we have meetings to ensure that that will be fulfilled as a promise. Um, we talk about education again, and where we took off the tuition fee from the TAMCC and the neuro students and to make the burdens less, we have just started. Last year, we took off the fees from the secondary schools and so. This year, we targeted the tertiary education, which is TAMCC and neuro. So these are some things that we have in store. But all in all, and the factories and all these things. But all in all, Aruna, we want to have a society where we can empower people, where we can have people, thinking, yes, like the Prime Minister said in last year's budget, he grew up poor, right? But in his head, he was not poor. So we have to, provide the avenue and the environment to empower our people so that they can start thinking that they are better than this and not fighting hard to remain in a state of poverty. And by doing so, we have to encourage people to be self-sufficient and to be on their own. No, as a politician, you may say, Andy, that's not the best thing. Because if you have people depending on you, you can control them so they can vote for you. But that is not what it should be about. Politics, again, should be all about people. As I said, the late Moy Bishop said, for the people, by the people, of the people. And it is our job to liberate them and to help them move from one stage to the other. If they vote for the next election, it's all well and good. If they don't, well, it's all well and good again. But we should not hold that and hold them at a ransom for a vote and having the country stagnant.
But the thing about it is, if you're doing a good job and it's even and it's across the board, that comes automatically because people are seeing that this person genuinely cares about our well-being, cares about our village, cares about our community, cares about Grenada. You have to be like, I can't even find the word to describe someone who would say, I'm not going to vote for this person, but they did good, but I'm not going to vote for them.
Right. But let's experience on it. Sometimes, what happens is that you may not see the benefit at the time. Right? Sometimes someone is trying to help you, but you don't see the benefit at the time. Because you're so focused on what you want. Right? For example, like a child may want something, but as a parent, that is not best for the child at the moment. But it's only when the child, even in school, I'm sure most of us can reflect now that when we were in school, some of the things that were said to us by our teachers, we disagreed with it. But now when we grow older, we say, you know what, boy, if I'd only listened, right? So what I'm seeing is that sometimes people cannot see the benefit now, but later on,
because you're looking for the instant gratification.
Exactly. So that's one of the challenges that you have to deal with. But I can tell you, we are putting policies in place so that we can, empower a nation. We can help our literacy rate to improve. We can put people in a position for them to be independent, right? And our Prime Minister, I can tell you, is one of great vision. He's one that always sees down the line. He looks at, not just now, but the future.
Long term.
And he has, let me just say this. He's the reason why I'm involved in politics. And I did not enter politics because, and I will say it loudly, that before I was an NMP, I was bad for NMP, like crazy, and I used to condemn NDC all the time, right? But when I saw men like Morris Bishop and what they did in their times, he inspired me. And that's where I started to say, what, Andy, I don't think we are moving forward. I think, yeah, we are there, but if we were to follow what Morris started, I think we would have been more advanced by now. And that is what, drove me. So, and that is why, again, when our Prime Minister, we met and we spoke for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I saw his vision. I saw it similar to something like Morris, and I said to myself, Andy, that's someone that you can, join forces with. to try and transform this country.
Because the potential, like I said, I'm not sure if people sit back sometimes and think about, and it really brings, like I always say to people, sometimes when you're here 365, you can't see much, but when you travel and you see so many things in different places, and then you come back and you're like, wow, we really haven't moved much. And the potential for growth is tremendous on this
Yes.
rock.
Yes.
The potential, we have the potential to be one of the most amazing islands.
Yes.
Everybody can look to and look up to and want to emulate and say, wow, look at Little Grenada.
Yeah.
But with some big aspirations and not just aspiring, but actually doing.
Yeah.
Our people are resourceful. When after the same COVID time, the way I saw people, doing things to sustain themselves and their family, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it's something that we can all do. But we just need, like you say, leadership. It's very important to have good
is.
leadership.
And Grenada is a beautiful place. Let me just say that. It's a beautiful place. I would. And let me tell you sometimes what gets to me, right? Sometimes when I hear people starting to run down our country, it gets to me. And that is why I'm so driven to bring the transformation to Grenada. I go to sleep at night with it in my head. I wake up in the morning, and that's what drives me, right? But again, it all boils down to us as a people. We have to want it also. For example, I was disappointed when after Carnival, and I knew it was going to happen. So I had my crew ready for the Saturday. After Carnival, the QAnon James Boulevard was just left in a mess. And I always say QAnon is, one of the most, or one of the greatest 400 meters runners that the world have ever seen. And if we give them a boulevard, it has to look nice.
Must have been maintained.
So when I saw that, I was like, nah. So Saturday, the Saturday after Carnival, the team went and they cleaned it up. But next year it will be different because we cannot have the same thing happen again. So, but we want to, or we have to have the eyes, and we want, how to put it? I would love to see our people wanting to see our country, in its best state. And Grenada is like a virgin. We have not touched.
It's a lot.
Exactly.
A lot.
Right. We are untouched, and the stage is set up for us to move to the next level.
Plus, we have a younger population, so the energy is there.
Do you know
the drive is there?
Do you know approximately 65% of the population is about 25 years and under?
So we have the potential for serious growth.
That's it.
And development. But like I said, leadership and putting those plans into action is what's important.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost time for us to go. But again, I just want you to use the next couple of minutes couple of seconds rather, to again make a special plea to young men, women out there, parents. You are a father yourself.
Yeah.
And it really, really breaks my heart to see a mother literally saying in 2023, I don't know what we're going to eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I want you to use the next couple of minutes to make a special plea to our young fathers out there, fathers generally, who are not, taking their role seriously.
Right. So I'm one. I know that when I speak, I like to include myself, right? Because no one is perfect, and everyone has flaws. But I want to encourage us as a people, not just father, but as a people, as a society, that we have, a responsibility to our family, and to build the family structure in Grenada, to leave it better than we found it. And again, it all starts with us. And we cannot pass blame to anyone else. We have to start by taking responsibility. So even me, as myself, Andy Williams, and everyone else. And if we start with us, then we may be surprised to see, how quick we can improve. But let me just share something with you. When Adam and Eve was, and I'm going back to scripture, right? In the Garden of Eden. And God met Adam and God said, Adam, why have you eaten of the fruit? And so, right? Adam said, God is the woman that you gave me that caused me to eat. So here was Adam blaming the woman that God gave him. And saying if God didn't give him that woman, then he would not have eaten from the fruit. But let's fast forward again now to the New Testament with Christ. When Christ was having the Last Supper and so, Christ said to his disciple, one of you will betray me. You know what the disciples said or asked? Lord, is it I? So they did not blame someone else for what will have been a mishap, but instead they reflected on themselves. And I'm saying, if all of us were to take that route, I think we can help improve our family structure, which will improve Grenada in a positive manner. Yeah.
I wish we had more time, but the folks on the live are asking for more time, which I don't have. Time for me to go. But thank you so very much. And of course, looking forward to having this conversation again, and having more regular updates and let people know what's going on, because I think sometimes misinformation is what makes people uneasy. So we need to to find a way to let people know what's happening. And again, we'll be holding the fire under your feet for implementing some of those things you spoke about today, because it's very, very important if we want to take our island to the next level, to get our young men and women gainfully employed and not depending, because it takes the burden off the government. You have to put all these support programs and support systems in place to help people who are not in a position to take care of themselves. So keeping fingers crossed that it will be sooner than later we see some of those factories and other things that you spoke of. We want to see them with our own eyes and hear people say, I'm going to work at so-and-so factory and we're doing this, and we want to see it on our shelves.
Right.
Go to our supermarkets and see them on our shelves. So looking forward to that.
Lovely. And let me just say before we leave everyone that, we just thinking quick. Some people ask me about the Molyneux project, right? Because they saw it was full for a while. And let me just tell them that what happened, we had to redo the design that we had. So basically we had a design, but it didn't take into consideration the whole hill of it where the stuff was coming down. So we had to redo the design, and we had to bring some more piles. So basically how we will be constructing the road is that we're going to have piles going down into the earth to find a solid surface, and the road is going to be built on top of it. Right, so the erosion will not affect the road at the end of the day, right? And also we are doing some work at the National Stadium now, because next year we will be hosting the Carifta Games, and we want it to be one of the best. So we are doing some work on the National Stadium also.
So next time we come back, we're going to talk about those two in more in depth.
No problem.
All right. Thank you so much for responding to my call to be here this morning. Appreciate it.
Hold on. I was going to get a little shade before I come, but I would not threaten me and tell me, Andy, if I reach it by 11 o'clock. So
you see, the last time Honorable Dickon Mitchell was here, I got a nice little basket with my spice and honey and all of that in there. So next time, do better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much, everyone on the live. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'll check in at some point in the day to see what you guys said. I know probably missed a couple of the questions, but with it moving so quickly, and trying to, focus on the conversation, I may have missed a couple. All right. But I'll check in with it again. And next time we have the minister back, I'll probably have them down so you can respond to them. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you to our friends at Beacon Insurance and Western Union as well for making this segment possible. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Ladies' Room comes to you compliments of Renwick and Thompson Limited and Beacon Insurance.
Always be sure you settle for more. Get up to 35